Welcome to the Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community Podcast. I'm your host, Patrice Gay. Back in the studio, our champion, Nina Mutegi. Nina, welcome back to the studio. How are you?
I'm very well, Patrice. I'm glad to be here. As usual, a little nervous, but I'm very happy to be here.
It's good to know that champions are nervous as well, because many times when you see you winning,
Yes.
we assume that it comes easy, natural, that is just how you breathe the air you breathe. So it's good to know you're human.
I am very human, yes, definitely. If you cut me, I bleed, for sure.
So yes. where's your crown?
It's in my head. It's in my head. It's like a virtual crown.
I'll tell you, I love it. So Nina, of course, all of us know as the 2020 champion of the International Business Plan Competition. And we're going to talk about taking dominance in the education industry in Kenya. She knows a little something about dominance. She comes from a very competitive family. I know her sister. And I've heard from both of them about how they go out. Were your parents competitive? What made you two girls so competitive? Was your parents competitive?
That's a really good question. So my mom is somebody who is designed to win. So anything she takes over, I say that she has like this Midas touch. So if she puts her hand on anything, it turns to gold just by sheer willpower. She will make it turn into gold. And then dad is more cautious. He's more careful, but he will drive something. He's the vision bearer, and mom is the doer in the back end. So I guess watching them do business all our lives must have made us quite competitive. I've always said Lorna is the competitive one, but I think I have my fair share of it as well.
Well, I mean, you are the oldest, and so there's a sense of always want to make sure the young folks behind you doesn't overtake you. That alone makes you competitive, right?
Well, that is it. So we're competitive in different ways. And then we have a younger brother who is the most laid back person you've met. I haven't seen the competitiveness in him yet, but maybe he had no one to compete with because he was born a lot later than we were.
Well, part of the issue is he's coming out as a young boy and he's got two older competitive sisters. Poor guy. Yeah. I mean, he either just settles down or he gets crushed. Like a good husband, he learned to be smart.
Absolutely. He learned how to stay alive.
That's right. Rachel says Nina bleeds diamond and rubies. That is
my goodness. Rachel. Wow.
And before we get into our topic, I called you earlier today by coincidence because I heard one of our investors and I announced to you that we're going to have more capital coming to you. And what I appreciate about you, Nina, is no matter how small, how big, your gratitude. And so that makes people want to help you win. So how do you feel about getting that phone call about more capital coming to you from the commitment we made from the beginning?
It's so funny. Yesterday, I was in a meeting with some of the senior management team, and we're supposed to be expanding to a junior secondary school, which is supposed to be ready by 2023. And one of the team members challenged me and said, they called me Madam Nina at school. So she said, Madam Nina, you don't seem to be too excited about this junior secondary. And I said, I am. I just need to figure out where the capital is going to come from for these structures. When I've figured that out, then I will be more excited than everybody. So then to get the call today was just like God say, keep going in that direction. I will provide. So you don't know how happy I am. It's not even showing enough. I was just like, okay, you will provide, just keep pushing. We've got the construction going on and I'm thinking, I hope this will work the way we plan. But I think today I just felt a sense of it's not even up to me. I just need to keep the wheels moving.
Wow. Well, he is grateful. And all of us as entrepreneurs knows, that call from the investor, from the bank, say, hey, we got more capital. That's always music to the ears of the entrepreneur. Well, it's easy for us. You've been faithful. You've been consistent. You've been loyal. Everything we've asked you to do. So for us, we want to replace your bank when it comes to financing. That's what we want to do.
Yes. And the funny thing is the bank is also aware that you want to replace them. So they're also being very generous. So suddenly everybody is willing to work with us. which is a very different picture than we had, a couple of years ago, where we would go cup in hand, will you give us something to build this structure or to buy a new school bus? And I can see the tables are turning where we have more options to choose from.
Amen. And that comes with diligence.
Amen.
So let's talk about that, because that is a position of dominance. So Nina, so Nina is one of 5 panelists that we've identified for this Global E-Community Forum next week, which will be, team, put that up, please. So next we have the Global E-Community Forum called Roar Like a Lion, how to become dominant in your industry. And we're using lion-like characteristics to kind of help entrepreneurs and individuals to understand how to dominate their industry. And so we're going to start with, I'm going to do a 20-minute talk on what it means to roar like a lion. And then we're going to go into a breakout sessions. There'll be a French breakout, an English breakout, and a Spanish breakout. And those breakout where they'll get into practical reality, how to walk this thing out. And then we'll come back into a panel discussion. The panel will be yourself, David Witter, would be Anna Maria Lowry, would be Dustin Lively, and will also be your good friend, your good friend from Kenya. Lord, his name just left my head.
John Thiongo.
John Thiongo, that's right.
Yes,
the Maverick. Yes. I cannot forget the Maverick.
The Maverick. You just call him the Maverick. We all know who he is.
It is. So we're going to be talking to you guys about really what has it taken for you guys to have this dominant posture in the marketplace. So we've had the Maverick in studio. He told us his secrets. We've had Anna Maria in studio.
Yes.
And today we're going to have you. And part of why we're doing this is because we realize that 30, 40 minutes on a panel is not with 5 giants. We could do that with one of you guys alone, right? So we wanted to do a podcast so that we have a deeper, it's deeper story for people to go and uncover more jewels. So that in a sense, the forum give them an excitement to want to go and listen to Mon and to Nina and to get more. So that's the purpose today. And then, of course, after the panel, we'll get into connect meetings. Listen, the Nehemiah entrepreneur community, we have over 1,000 members, entrepreneurs around the globe. And the idea is not just to learn, to grow, but to connect and network. I mean, Nina, how many biblical entrepreneurs so far in the last 12 months have you hired as contractors for your business? I mean, at least 3 to 5. Would you agree?
I think we've got 5 going to 6 now.
Wow. So Nina, so her company,
it's not even just somebody you hire and they go away. They're working with us.
Wow. That's incredible. So imagine being in a connect meeting with Nina, and then at the end of it, she says, hey, why don't you call me? Let's meet next week. Let's talk about how you can help us with this. Are you following me? So because part of the Nehemiah community is more than just about learning and coaching, but it's also about networking and doing business with people you like, love, and trust. So Nina got 5 going to 6 entrepreneurs. So Nina, you might just realize you're worth investing in, because the money we give you, guess what? You passing it on. I mean, you're like Abraham, right? You're the channel blessing other people.
Yes, I think, and that's really been the biggest part of the Nehemiah community. First of all, just to say, to be invited to be on the panel with these giants, I was like, are you sure you want me? Is this the right Nina, or are you talking about somebody else? So the giants in the Nehemiah project, I mean, to be able to walk with people who have the same values as you, who have been through the same course, who have the same fire in you to make a difference. I can tell you it's transforming the business much faster than I could have done it by myself or even with my sister. So we've got people taking up the HR role. We've got the uniform department under control. We've got the transport. We've got the legal. We've got the marketing. I mean, it is huge. It is huge. I've never really thought about the money bit of it because it's flowing. But I guess that's what happens when you have the right partners. You don't even stress about it.
I love it. And have you ever seen a lion who's stressed? I've not seen one. Right? Lions don't stress because they're the king of the jungle.
That's right.
So Nina, let's talk about this idea of dominance. So I want to give you a few characteristics of a lion.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me kind of what are your thoughts about it. So
Okay.
lions, there are their dominance is clear. They're very competitive, right?
Mm.
In other words,
Yeah.
they don't co-lead with other animals.
Mm.
They are
Mm.
they are their lead.
Yes.
Their beauty is untouchable, right? I mean, just that
Mhm.
regalness about lions. So there's a posture in them.
Mhm.
Their strength is
Mhm.
very clear, fast and strong. The other thing about lion is when they kill,
Mhm.
they leave leftovers, so others
Yeah.
are able to be fed.
Yes.
But then the most important thing about them, they don't kill just to kill. They
Yes.
either kill to eat or
Yes.
kill to defend. So when you
Yes.
hear those characteristics, or you think about this whole forum about roaring like a lion,
Mhm.
how do you process it? What comes to mind when you hear all that?
Well, it's so funny that sometimes the way God works is really interesting. The profile picture I have on my WhatsApp group currently is one of a group of felines, and of course, there's a lion at the head of it. And I needed to put that photo up because I was coming up from a place of, illness and getting back into work, and I needed to have that lion spirit to bring me back into that space.
Wow.
And lots of people have commented about that because it's such a powerful image. It just, and it shows the lion walking with other strong animals that are in the same category. So I think what comes to my mind is that strength and that uniqueness, but also just being able to know who you need to walk with. So what you've raised just now, I want to walk with John Thiongo, I want to walk with Anna Maria, people who are hunters, not necessarily, waiting to see what life brings them, because then that spurs you on. And I think that's a typical characteristic of a lion. It kind of, the challenge with that is you can piss people off sometimes because you're so independent of mind and you're so clear and you're so focused, and that has like a dual effect on many people. So some people will be impressed by the clarity that you have, but some people will be irritated by that as
Mm,
well. A small
mm.
percentage have come to accept that. And you need to, move past what people think very quickly to what is it you want to achieve. Because if what you want to achieve is beyond what your personal needs are to what God's purpose is for you, then you have nothing to worry about. They'll come around. The ones who get irritated will eventually, people want to celebrate when success comes. So they'll come around eventually.
Well, let me ask
Um,
you raise a
yeah,
good point. You raise a good point
yeah,
because, for instance, women that are strong and confident,
yes,
there's a world in a word there's a word in the world that we call them. They call them, in America term, a B, right?
yes,
Most
yes,
Americans know what that
yes,
means. I think in
yes,
Kenya, I'm not sure
yes.
if that translates well in Kenya English. It's not British,
We
but
know, we know the B word in
you
Kenya.
know, that's the
At
word.
least we know
That's
it.
right.
Yes.
You guys are, sophisticated, so you guys don't go that low, but we Americans, we so, so as a result of that,
Yes.
when a woman is like a Nina or an Anna Maria,
Yes.
right, it's not looked at as women like. So
No.
how have you addressed that, Nina? How have you dealt with that as coming up in terms of feeling like if I exhibit strength and confidence,
Mm.
I'm perceived as mean and not nice.
Yes. 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 I think the way to deal with it is from the inside. um, like I said, you can't control what everybody else is going to think. So you have to be comfortable with who you are, and to be able to use, I'll tell women, I sometimes mentor younger women, and I will say, if you want to win in certain boardrooms, you have to dress like a woman, you have to sound like a woman. Don't try and be something that you're not, but be very clear about why you're there. And there are many advantages to doing business as a woman, because you have some, sometimes when you talk to men, oh, now I'm going into dangerous ground, but
No,
you
go
can
there.
use,
It's important. You're being real.
You
as my kids, as my you're being real.
Yes, I am. There's certain things, there's a way that you will talk to a man that just already just, brings the tension down a little bit. And you're not manipulating him. You're just a woman and he's responding to the fact that you're a woman. And I'm not talking about sexually at all. I just mean that natural dynamic between men and women. And then in Kenya, it's even, it's Africa. So women are not supposed to be outspoken. Women are not supposed to have strong opinions. Yet we are living in a society where many men have to understand that. So what you do as a woman is you understand that even as you're speaking to a man, don't talk down to him, even though he reports to you, for example. There's a way you can call the man out of him and, try and address the issue that's there. So it's tact more than anything. It's tact more than anything. And then of course knowing where to draw the line, because if I bring that approach home, that's not going to go down very well with my other half. So I have to learn where to submit and where to be quite full on, and when to switch it, when to turn it up and when to turn it down. So it's tact more than anything else.
That is lots of wisdom. This is real. So, Nina, what prepared you for this? When you look back, I mean, were you born with this insight? What prepared you for this? When you think about your journey, what prepared you for this?
Everything, absolutely everything. So I was born in a family. So, like, for example, my mom's family, there are very strong women. And sometimes the tact wasn't always evident. And of course, the consequences followed. And then of course myself going through different relationships and understanding that even if I'm earning more money, I need to understand where to draw the line with calling the shots. And then of course being a leader within the workplace, and being a leader in the Western world as a woman and being a leader in Africa as a woman is completely different, completely different. In Kenya, there are certain tribes that will even struggle more with the fact that you're a woman and you're the one telling them what to do. So getting to know some of those subtle cultural intricacies helps. But then not being apologetic about being the leader, being clear that this is the position I'm in. I have to make the tough decisions. And so just sitting in that chair, I usually say to my leaders, if you're going to sit in that chair, sit in it and make a difference. If you're going to be half sitting, half standing, please vacate the seat and let someone else sit in it.
Woo!
Yes.
That's saying like it is.
Yes.
It's interesting as you were talking about leading in the West versus in Africa. Tell us a bit about that. So,
Okay.
because you were in a career in London before you
Yes.
went back to Kenya.
Yes.
So, what's been the difference for you, plus or minus? What was the advantage that you had maybe in London in your leadership position? Now, of course, one, you're an entrepreneur. It's your family business, so you're a part
Yes.
owner. The
Yes.
other, you're working for an institution. But let's
Yes.
ignore that for a minute. Not the difference in terms of working your own business versus working for somebody else, but in just the leadership itself. What have you found to be the difference, good and bad? Was a plus when you were in England? What was the challenge? What was the plus in Kenya? And what's been the challenge?
Okay. So I had the opportunity to lead teams in London, and in London I was leading. London is very metropolitan, so you have people from England, you have Brazilians, you have people from New Zealand, you have people from the States. It's very, very metropolitan. So the strengths of maybe leadership in the UK, I would say there was less of a problem being a woman. People would be more accepting. And the fact that it was metropolitan also helped, because then the fact that you're Black wasn't such a big deal. I think if I was a leader in a more rural part of the UK, it might have been more of a challenge because of the perception of a Black person being in a position of leadership. However, now the downside to it, and one of the things I've really appreciated about coming back home is in the UK, I had this glass ceiling where there was a point I couldn't go past, no matter how qualified I was, no matter how experienced I was, there was a point I couldn't get past. And very few foreigners essentially would get past that glass ceiling. So I think that was the hardest thing, because when I came to Kenya, suddenly it didn't even matter. I walk on the streets here and it doesn't matter who I am. I just belong. It doesn't matter whether I'm walking or in a car. I just belong. I don't have to justify my position or my being here. Whereas in London, I often had to say, you say, yes, I'm Nina, I'm originally from Kenya. Then you very quickly qualify that with I'm a nurse, so that you don't sound like somebody who's come to, get from the government and take away.
Wow.
You have to justify constantly the value that you bring to this society because you don't belong. Essentially, you're a foreigner.
That is an incredible thing. So when I think about lion, because part of what makes lion where they are is that they belong in the jungle.
Yes.
They are in their terrain.
Yes.
Right? They don't feel like they're in a strange place. They walk around roaming like they own the place.
Yes.
So would you then say the key to success, one of the keys to dominance is finding an environment where you can feel that sense of aura of confidence, like this, I belong here. Would you say that's key?
You have absolutely nailed it. You've nailed it. So, and it isn't about where you live. It is what goes on in here and in your heart.
Wow.
It's an identity thing. And I remember when I did Identity and Destiny as part of the Biblical Entrepreneurship course, I came back and one night I was, thinking through the identity content. And, I had always battled with the idea of coming back home to work in the family business, because I had always wanted to prove myself and to show that Nina can be successful without mom or dad. I can start my own thing and I'd be successful at it. And when I did the Identity and Destiny part of BE, I remembered the movie Lion King. So in the Lion King, there's a section where Simba moves away from his homeland and goes and lives somewhere else as a foreigner, and lives a life that is not really befitting of a king. He's eating bugs and not doing anything, very productive. And then this, I think it was a baboon, comes and tells him, remember who you are. And that for me is what BE, the Identity and Destiny piece, did for me. It reminded me that I am a daughter of the king, the overall king of the universe. And so I can walk with confidence, and he's got my back and he's guiding me. And so then you strut about that way without even knowing it, because suddenly you're walking in purpose and you know where you're going. And again, that's the same thing that attracts people to you and irritates certain people, because you are strutting about like you own the place. So yes, you're absolutely right.
That is, if you got nothing else from this podcast, that idea. So here's the audience. Listen, if you're not out right now in an environment or an industry or geographic location where you have that sense of confidence and sense of identity, then find that place. Yes. But Nina, you made a point. It's what's in here and in here. So it's not about geography necessarily, but rather it's about that place that you feel that's in alignment. You also mentioned Identity and Destiny, which is a course that we offer that helps you with that sense of alignment. But now, Nina, so I'm in America, and we watch Lion King. We watch lions in the movie. You are in the territory where the lion lives.
Yes.
So do you then have a different perspective than most of us, because you understand the lion? So my question to you is the lion image, has it been pushed too far, you being so close to it, or is it is it fairy tale or is it real? This sense of elegance and royalness, strength, all that thing that we talk about a lion, like the Lion King movie. Tell us a bit of myths versus fiction. I mean, fiction versus fact.
I mean, it's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. Now you've challenged me to go on safari one of these days because it's been a while since I've seen an actual lion, even though I live in Kenya. But I mean, the way a lion carries itself, and it's walking. It lives in a jungle where there are animals much bigger than it. So when you see this, an actual lion and an actual elephant, you would wonder why an elephant would walk away from a lion. So a lion has this majesty, this, dominance, this leadership. Nobody messes with a lion, and everybody's looking, where's the lion, where's the lion? And the other thing about lions is everything they do is quite impressive. I was watching a documentary recently with my dad, actually, and we were watching these wild dogs that kill animals like zebra, etc., but they don't kill them before they eat them, so they eat them while they're alive.
Wow.
And suddenly, I mean, it's brutal, it's horrible. Like, you see all, and there's lots of them, so they gang up against this one animal and they literally eat it while it's alive. I was just imagining that's a horrible way to die. But when you watch how a lion hunts, it, number one, goes for the jugular, puts its prey out of pain. There's not too much struggle, and then it does what it has to do. There is an elegance to that, that I thought in that moment was impressive, which I'd never really thought about till I saw the documentary of the wild dogs attacking other creatures. But absolutely, there, it is not fiction, it is real, it is impressive. And the more you watch them, the more well, I watch them more on TV now than I do practically, but you just want to keep watching and learning how they live and their society. There's a lot of um culture. I don't know if the word is culture, but the way they do life is impressive. So it's not a myth.
What came to my mind is they live by certain codes, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
so if you're going to be dominant, you have to have a certain value, certain code
yes.
that you live by, that you're not going to be like a wild dog.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we're all going to eat, yes, the circle of life must continue, but we don't all do it the same way.
So let's talk about choosing your path in terms of the business or the industry. So in
Yes.
your case, it was kind of chosen for you
Yes.
because you were kind
Yes.
of born in it.
Yes.
But you still have to make a choice at a certain point because it wasn't like your parents said, hey, do this or else.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. So I'm listening, watching this podcast, and I want to be dominant. How, let's maybe talk to those who are part of family businesses. I'm
Yes.
kind of thinking I'm jealous because I wish my daughter will come into
Yes.
Nehemiah Project. Right now, she says, no, daddy, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And did you have a moment like that in your life where you were like, never? And that would give me hope. So let's talk about that because part of success, part of dominance is choosing the right industry, choosing the right kind of business. So how
Yes.
did Nina go to join the family business? Was it, tell us about that process. Was it like, oh, I have the passion for this, gift for this, therefore? Was it like
Mm,
mom and
mm.
dad say you have no choice and long do we discover it? Tell me about that process?
How did that happen? So you need to get my parents on one of these podcasts because they're getting a lot of people calling them, asking them how they managed to convince two of three children so far to join the school. Our brother's a pilot, so he's very, he's all over the place. But I think he's starting to take more interest in the school. I think you met him when we did our last meeting, and I was definitely a no or when it came to the family business. So my parents have always been business people. And because of that, I watched the hard work that is involved in business, and I watched the long days and the uncertainty of income because you didn't know whether there was going to be money or not. And sometimes there were big chunks of money, and then there was nothing for a long time. And actually, when we were growing up, there was not much separation between the business and home. So mom and dad were working in business together. So when they came home, it was just a continuation of work for them. So I didn't admire that growing up. I thought this is too hard, this is too difficult. And so when I left home, I went into healthcare. So I'm a trained nurse and I'm also a health psychologist. And I did well in my profession. I went, up the ranks of nursing and started off with health psychology. So when I came back to Kenya, it
So
was
wait,
not
go back.
yes,
Why did you
yes.
choose nursing and health psychology?
That was the dream. My dream was to be a doctor.
Mm.
And somewhere along the way, because I did a pre-med degree, and then my parents didn't have the money to pay for medical school for me when it was time for me to do medicine. So it came up that I was in the UK at the time, just trying to see. I didn't have a plan. I didn't really know. I was just passing the time, to be honest. I was in my early 20s. I didn't have a plan. And the government at the time was giving bursaries for people to do nursing because there was a big shortage of nurses in the UK. So I heard about it from my classmates. I was doing a computer course just to, as I figured out what I was going to do. So my classmates, some Jamaican girls, were filling out forms. So I asked them, "What is this? Did I miss a class or something?" And they said, "No, man, we're signing up for nursing, man." So bad accent, but so I just applied and I got in, and not everybody used to get in. And I think because I had the pre-med degree, they took me in straight away. So that's how I got into nursing, but the dream was to be a doctor. So for the early part of my life, actually, I spent it in regret, wishing that I was a doctor and regretting that I was doing nursing and not doing medicine. And what I didn't know at the time is that God was just setting me up for such good things, because then, because of the nursing, I got to get a lot of privileges in the UK. I got a British passport. I had access to specific benefits that you got when you were a nurse. You had access to loans. And I didn't know all this when I was busy crying about not being a doctor. So then what I did is I went right through to, I did a master's in nursing so that I could do some high level nursing. I worked in high dependency units. And then I moved into a very different kind of nursing that allowed me to travel around the world setting up patient support programs. So I got to set up programs in many countries in Europe, in the Middle East. And so I think I took nursing almost as far as I could in the UK. And yes, so that's a story of how I got into healthcare. And then along the way, I started learning about health psychology, which I thought was really interesting. So I did a master's in health psychology as well. And that's very typical of people who live abroad. You find that you're doing a lot of high level qualifications just to get the same jobs as everybody else. You have to be far better to get the same job as, the average person who comes from that country. And you asked the question about life preparing me. I think that was it, because then I got used to pushing myself to excellence just to access what everybody else could access.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I've
That's
never
a
really
powerful
thought of
story.
that.
What I love
Yeah,
about that story, because dominance doesn't start when you get in a particular position, right?
yeah. Mm.
So as you pursued whatever, there's a sense of diligence and dominance even in those spaces. So you have a dual citizenship in a sense.
Yes, I do. I do. Yes.
So I mean that's something that most people, right, once they get a citizenship for a European or Western country, they've
Mm.
hit the plateau. At that moment, get married, have children. You don't look back to Africa.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would then lead Nina to at that moment? She's the king of the hill. Why go backwards? Well, at least what others would perceive as backwards to Kenya and to the family
Yeah.
business, which you didn't want to do at first.
I didn't. No, it wasn't ever in my plans. I was married at the time and I had a relationship that was going downhill. I was in a job. I had left the job that I really loved at the time to take a job that was more local, thinking it would help me get a bit more work-life balance, but that didn't work out. And it was like a culmination of different things. Suddenly, one day, the thought popped into my head, why don't you consider going home?
Wow.
because for many
So
people,
you
go
are
on.
a master degree educated.
Yes,
You're the king of your hill. I mean, yes, you have
yeah,
a bad marriage, but
yes,
so what? Many folks got bad marriages. You got money,
yes,
right? So just get rid of him and just be happy. That's kind of the
yeah,
attitude, right? And then
yes,
you're a British citizen. But
yeah.
then the thought comes, why go back home? Reconcile that for me, Nina, because that doesn't make sense. Most people would say, just buy another house.
I know. And actually when I think about it, I think it was God that just put that thought in my head, because even when I was planning my life, I'd bought a house in a place that was convenient, close to my daughter's school. I mean, literally it was ticked all the boxes. I was comfortable. I'd set up the pension. I had never thought that I would even retirement. I didn't think I would retire in Kenya. I was planning everything over there. So I haven't quite figured that one out, Patrice. I think it was literally God that spoke in my ear, because I woke up with the idea. And I find that happens to me quite a lot. I'll go to bed with a problem and I'll wake up with a solution, and quite a specific solution. And I think that's how God speaks to me. And then what happens also is then I get to rain like the same message coming through other channels, almost to confirm that this is what I'm saying. It's happened more than once. And then what happened in this scenario as well is, much as I had money, I had the money that people have in the Western world, which is a credit card, not real cash in the bank. And so when I did the costing for relocation, I'm like, I can't even afford this. And suddenly I started getting all these jobs that I would normally not get. I was still employed, but I had jobs I could do on the phone. People who I had met years ago who wanted me to tie up projects that were still incomplete in the UK. And believe it or not, within 6 months, I was paid by all those people simultaneously the exact amount of money that I needed to relocate.
Look at God. So
That is God.
there's a sovereignty in this thing. So when we talk about taking dominance, we have
Yes,
to accept the fact that there's a preordination
absolutely.
of what God says. It's by yielding to God's will in a sense.
Yes, yes. And being ready just to, I don't even think I knew it consciously, but when I think about it, submitting to the plan was very, very difficult, because then you've been planning for years. I was away for 23 years. That's a lifetime. I had left home at 17. I had never been an adult in Kenya.
Wow.
So it was, it was like a complete corner, turning from one direction to another.
So you transitioned back home. Tell me
Yes.
about the time where you felt like, okay, this is it.
This is
So,
it, as in go into the family business?
yeah. In other words, you transition, you go through all the challenges.
Yes.
Tell me about that moment when
Mm.
you finally got to a place where you're like, "Phew, I didn't make a mistake. I think this is it."
Okay. So I came back home, and within a couple of months, I set up a healthcare business.
So not
Where
even
I was
no, still not in the family business. You're trying to do something different.
no, because then I've come home. I was going for interviews, job interviews. I didn't come home to do the family business. I came home I just moved from one
And it
country to
was still a
another.
no. It was still a no
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. Who wanted all that mess? That was messy. I didn't want that at all. I didn't want that at all. And then so I did a couple of interviews, and I would get feedback like, you really interviewed well, but we have someone with more local experience. And I'm like, okay. So then I set up a business that I started off, and I was doing okay. I was very bad at collecting the money. So I was good at offering the service, but I started noticing I wasn't getting paid. So I knew there was a problem with the business model, but that was the first business I'd ever started. I'd never really run a business before. I'd worked in set up corporate structures. So whilst I was doing this, I could see the school needed me. So Lorna was running the school full at the time. She was also running another business at the same time. So the model that we had at the time was, we'll do a bit of our own thing, and then we'll both put a bit of time into the school. So we split the departments, and she took some departments, I took some. And I just found that I started, like when you know what needs to be done to fix the problems that were there. So I realized I needed to throw myself into the school more to be able to fix those problems. And I think it wasn't until I did the biblical entrepreneurship course. Again, it was just in here. I had to make that decision. When I did the identity and destiny course, I asked myself those tough questions because I had done quite a few things on purpose. And I know my purpose is generally related to excellence, bringing excellence out of anything I'm involved in. But when my assignment became clear, I knew I had to take Mirema School to the next level. I knew the family was relying on it. And that was around 2019. 2019, when I started the BE course. That's when I just took it up. And I said, this is me. I'm the only person who can do this right now. I'm the only person who can separate the family from the business. No employee can do that for us. We're a strong family. So it has to be me right now, but it doesn't have to be me forever.
That
So
is
I have a window.
That is an incredible story, because as I think of it, going back to dominance,
yes,
you have to take responsibility, full responsibility, because
yes,
you can't dominate in a space, in a thing that you don't fully take responsibility for.
yes.
So
Absolutely.
were your parents like, thank you, Jesus? I mean, were they like grateful when you finally made that decision?
Absolutely. They were very grateful. When I say grateful, I think they were relieved because they had started edging out of the business while Lorna was running it. But we were also in a lot of financial trouble at the time. The business was struggling. We had a lot of debt we had to service. So when I came in, then they felt more confident to let go a little bit more because then there was Lorna and myself running the show. So they were definitely relieved and they're glad that we're there. I think we have a very unique situation in our family where our parents are on the board, but actually day to day, we don't have any interference from them now. They just let us make decisions. We have made some bad decisions. I have made some very bad decisions that have cost us money. But over time now, they can, and by the way, they've been very forgiving about some of the mistakes that we made and that I made particularly, and they then have taken up more of an advisory position.
Wow, that's incredible. And that's powerful, because for parents who are watching, letting your children make mistakes, it is costly, it is painful, because it affects the pocketbook. That is
Yes.
powerful. So it shows that lions do make mistakes.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the difference is then if you're a lion, you own your mistake and you
Mm.
continue to strut. You keep strutting. Yes.
I
You
love
own
it.
your mistake and you just move and you say, oh, I had said we're going to go this way, but now we're not going to go this way because of one, two, three. Now we're going this way.
Well, I love it. Nina, we're coming to the end of
Yeah.
our podcast. What I love about talking to you, you have this calming nature. It's like
Uh-huh.
quiet water. It's like the ocean, right? And I want to just sit with you forever. And it's a gift, seriously.
Thank
Is
you.
that how
Thank
you
you.
lead? You like, quiet ocean that turns into a storm in a minute without warning even?
That has been known to happen. Yes. But I think it's partly my nature. It's who I am. I've been told before I should read children's stories, which I think. Then I've been told this, many years ago. So I think there's something there. But also I've realized that if you can remain kind of calm through, especially turbulent times, you're more likely to hear what the answer,
Yeah.
to hear what the solution is. Sometimes when you get too wound up, you don't hear the solution.
That is interesting. I'm just imagining you and your sister Lorna growing up, right? Butterfly and
Yes.
calm, and just
Yes.
those two dynamic. It must be an interesting dynamic between the two of you guys.
It's still very interesting, Patrice, because we're so different. So, like, I remember during family functions, Lorna would be the one who would go out and dance for everybody, and I wouldn't, but then I would be the one showing her the moves in the bedroom. So, it's she's very comfortable in the limelight, less so for me, but I think my position now as CEO has caused me to have to get more comfortable
Yeah.
with it. People think I'm an extrovert, but I'm really not at all. But leadership does that to you.
Oh, and you've done it well. Ruth
Thank
says
you.
you are truly a gift, Nina. Keep roaring. And
Thank
Ramana
you.
says, "Hi, Nina Mutegi, my Kenyan champion." So as we come to land this plane here, so give us what's been the key to you turning the company over and really becoming a dominant player in education? What's been if you want to look at 2 to 3 things that's been key to your success, Nina, what would you say?
Um, 2 or 3 things. Okay, I would say number one, be clear about where you want to go. And when I say be clear, I mean be focused about the direction you want to go, and don't worry so much about the competition. Compete against your best self.
Mhm.
So right now, I'm challenging the team to go for world class standards. And when the new staff ask me who's your competition, I struggle to answer that question because in my mind, I'm not comparing us to any of the schools that are necessarily around us. I'm comparing us to world class standards. So bring your A game, basically, be your best self, go for excellence. And the other thing is partnerships. So I heard John Thiongo say something I always say myself. If you want to go fast, you can go by yourself. But if you want to go far, bring people alongside. And I think Mirama School is absolutely doing that, because then when you have people walking with you, the weight is less, the ideas are more, and of course you have to choose who you walk with. Don't just pick anyone. Be discerning in who you pick. But those partnerships are really, really key. And then, as much as possible, try and hear God as
Mhm.
much as possible, because he leads and he guides. It's his business at the end of the day. So he will tell you where the money is going to come from if you can just honor what he has asked you to do up until the point that he tells you to do something else.
Wow, good advice. So Nina, 10, 15 years from now, what does the school looks like? 10, 15 from now.
So 10, 15 years from now, we are going to be a group of schools. We
Mhm.
will have expanded beyond Kenya. We will be in East Africa. We will be a school that is bringing up the next generation for Africa. So we are going to be impacting children even more than we are right now. And those children are going to impact Africa. And watch this space. Africa is coming.
Woo, raw. I
Yeah.
love it. You heard it here
Yeah.
first, guys. Listen, before Nina gives you her final advice, I just want to do a few commercials. Raw like a lion, the
Yes.
e-community global forum. Get registered today. $25 for non-members and free for silver, gold, and diamond members. Sign up, come and learn how to roar on May 26th. That is next week. So if you want to know more about Nina Mutegi and the Miraima School, visit them on their website. So please, team, put the school's website up. You can there learn about the school. It's miramaschool.ac.ke. You even coming up soon with a virtual program, right?
Yes, absolutely. So
So
we
that those who
we
want to take class virtual can, yeah,
yeah, we
awesome.
pivoted
So
because
go
of
there.
COVID, so that's coming up.
I love it. So you can do it live or virtually. So visit them and take advantage of one of the best schools in Kenya. Also, if you want to know about the Nehemiah project, how we can come alongside you and help you roar like Nina's roaring. Visit our website, nehemiahecommunity.com, nehemiahecommunity.com. There you'll learn about the Biblical Country Training Program. Whether you are in Kenya or around the world, you can take advantage of the program. The program Nina talked about, that really helped her. You can remember Identity and Destiny, Serve with Love. By the way, Nina, soon the Serve with Love Award will be coming out, so I expect you to be in that award, and who knows, know how competitive you are. We may have another Serve with Love champion this year, and it'll be 2 years in a
We're
row.
coming. Oh yes, I said we were coming for that one, and we are.
I love it. I love it. So you can learn about those training programs. You can also learn about our coaching program. Nina is part of our Business Success Accelerator, the group coaching. Learn about that, about the executive program or the lead coaching program. Or you can also learn about Access to Capital. Nina also is in the Access to Capital program. We have new money going to her in the next couple of weeks. We love it. And, we committed one amount, but it could be double that for sure. And so that's going to be exciting because we want to replace her local bank when it comes to lending so that she can get better interest rates. So tell them the easy way to kick us out is to bring their rates to as low as ours. And then we have to bring ours low, right?
So you need to bring yours lower. I like that.
Who can be the lowest?
I'll set the challenge.
That's a good competition. Tell them, here's what they're giving us. Beat that and you're ours. And then you come back to us and say, Patrice, they beat it. Can we do something lower? It kind of the race to the bottom that will benefit you and the stakeholders.
That would be good for us.
So if you need access to capital, go ahead and reach us, and we can help you. Not before we fully fund Nina. So get in line. Is that okay with you, Nina?
I'm happy with that. I like the priority. Thank you, Patrice. Thank you.
You're welcome. You gotta look out for my girl. You are still the champion.
Thank you.
Well, with that said, I want Nina to give us some last advice. So, Nina, there are people watching and listening. An entrepreneur who, like you the other day, where they were like, I have dreams, I have vision, but where's the money going to come from? In your case, within 24 hours, the Lord spoke, and whether the money was enough or not, it gave you that sense of confidence, right? That's out there. They're looking for that same sense. They're perplexed. They're wondering. What would you say? What's your advice to them, Nina?
I would say trust. So the opposite of fear is faith. And I only learned that relatively recently. So it isn't courage. It doesn't come from you. It comes from faith in a higher power. So remember that you are the child of a limitless God. So any limits that are there are your own. If you've limited your thoughts, your dreams, your abilities, that is you. You are the child, the daughter and the son of a limitless God. So be clear about the purpose, pray about it, surround yourself with the right people, and the answers will come. Don't be afraid, just have faith. That would be my parting shot.
Love it. The opposite of fear is faith, not courage.
Not courage.
Because courage suggests you line upon oneself. Faith suggests you line upon a greater God.
Yes.
That is insightful. Yes. Thank you so much for that. Listen, if you didn't hear that, then you have a hole in your soul. That was so encouraging. If you enjoy this podcast, do me a favor, share it. Individuals who may need this encouragement, who may be struggling, so that they can hear a woman, a Kenyan, a Christian, an African, right, who is doing it. A family, a daughter, right, a daughter who has said no to the family. I'm going to get my daughter to listen to this podcast, right?
Yes. I'll talk to her.
Daughter, I said, Nina, pray for me.
I will talk to her.
Please. So I'm going to bring her to Kenya just so she can be inspired by Mirama School.
Fantastic.
To go from being a nurse to being a CEO of an education school, that is powerful. That's incredible. With that, Nina, thank you so much. Guys, register for the forum. Join Nina and myself next week, May 26th. And let me pray for you before you leave. May the Lord bless you.
Amen.
May the Lord enable you to steward those talents that are under your care. And may you steward them in such a way like Nina, so that one day you can hear those wonderful words. You can roar like a lion. Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. Now he'll make you rule over much. God bless you. Nina, thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrice. Always a pleasure. Asante pia. Nimeshukuru sana.